I'm Alex Petroyama.
And I'm Adam Clark.
And this is Safe and Sound.
To start this off, thank you for giving your time and energy towards this moment.
Love you, brother.
I think we've spent 4 months putting this together.
Preparing.
Getting you used to having a mic with you, speaking, learning, me learning about you, you learning about me.
A young Jedi.
Yeah.
Learning the ways of the Force. Yes.
And I can feel it. Today's the day.
Frequency is the Force. Like what we call the Force is frequency. The ability to levitate objects, it's just high frequency, and sound is frequency. And we are in the frequency right now to share, our knowledge, our freedom, our form. And I can't wait to feel grounded, safe, and sound through the whole experience.
I'm going to start us off with a little bit of a story. So, 11 months ago, I was at a pretty dark point in my life. A lot of stuff was going on. I felt like the walls were sort of closing in. I felt very vulnerable. My wife, Sherry, who her name will come up a lot over the course of our story, and I'll talk about her, she recommended I go to a yin yoga class across the street. And for the first time ever, I went in, and it was your class. And I saw a lineup of people. It was an overbooked class. We just snuck in last minute because some people canceled last minute and we got in. I walked in, laid out my yoga mat, and you walked in and you welcomed all these people. 60 people, I think you sometimes have in your class with it. All 60 people there. And your voice was was there. It was soothing. You came and introduced yourself and you began this very interesting, I would say meditation, I would say thoughtfulness exercise. And I remember at one point, I was just holding a position for my first time in yoga and I began to cry. And ever since then, I've been coming to your classes, I've been coming and learning from you. We've done a 40-hour yin yoga masterclass and we've hung out, we've learned from each other and become really close friends. And I think that's amazing, man. So I just wanted to start off this podcast by saying, I know who you are, but our listeners might know. Who is Alex Petroyama?
It's a question that I ask myself, and myself, answers through the breath, and that's why I teach it. We are more ourself as a breath than as a reflection in a mirror or as a thought in our head. Somehow we've gone off on this image of ourselves as, oh, this is what I look like. This is my body. Oh, this is what I am. This is what I think. Going all the way back to Descartes. I think, therefore I am. I just don't subscribe to that. And I think that's where, for me, where you've connected with me, it's like we start with the breath because the breath is the densest form of the spirit, just as the body is the densest form of the mind. And we are here to explore the self. And for me, the journey, the adventure is this connectivity of the mind and body, the breath and spirit. And if we can connect it all, it's to the self. And this is the experience. We're having an experience of the self, which is everything.
I always find I'm learning something new from you. But also more than that, this talk about the self, I've heard this multiple times over the year. The unification of all of your parts, the core foundation of a person. And I find it so interesting whenever I talk to you about it, because I find that through sound healing, through yoga, through the lessons that we've learned, the exploration, the adventure, everything, at the core root, it's always the self, I find. And whenever I do yoga, whenever I go to a sound healing, whenever I experience, I always find that I'm getting closer and closer to realizing what that is.
So that's self-awareness. Or self-actualization or self-realization. There's many paths to the self. We started with it like safe and sound. It's like safe and sound. You're always safe and sound in yourself.
Yeah.
That's what this whole podcast is going to be. Everything you're ever going to hear from me, every vibration that comes from me, it's always going to be that it's all coming from the self, which is safe and sound.
Yeah.
Because the self is safe. You can always be safe in yourself. And you can always be sound in yourself.
Yeah.
And so the self is a refuge. It's a retreat. It's a place of space and grace where you can connect. It's not just autobiographical. It's also awareness, right? So it's not just historicity, it's also awareness, which is to say it's the thing that makes the thing that is the thing, that is the self-realization, that is the self-actualization, that is. The self can go into different forms. And that's why I said, when you step into a class, you're stepping into the unknown. You're stepping into the formless. You're going into this place. I don't know what is this? What is the new experience? But the newness is nowness. And when we step into the now, we step into the present. And the gift is being here and clear. Being with the self. Being with ourselves. Being together through that self with each other. And as we start to have this, whether you call it awareness, realization, the self is moving because we have it. Each individual human has it because it's a being. We are all human beings, and so the self is born of the being. And so because each of us have being, we're being ourselves. We're being ourselves. And what does that mean? I'm being myself. That's when you ask me, who is this Petroyama? I am myself. Well, who is the self? And that's the question that is also the answer through the expression of being, which we say, and what you've learned through the classes, is all about being and breathing, which we're doing through this podcast right now as you're listening. As you breathe and be, as you're aware of your breath, as you take a breath in and you take a breath out, there's no way out of it. Everything is connected to the breath. It's not connected to the mind. It's not connected to the body. We have so many experiences that are not the mind and not the body. The breath is more ourself than anything else. And our self is actually more connected to our breath than our minds and our bodies. This is the radical consciousness I want to share with the world. This is why I want to feel safe and sound. Because the self, if we take it as a understanding, as a breath, as a spirit, as a life force energy that comes and goes but never leaves, then we can't possess it. Right? I take a deep breath in. I'm going to hold it. I'm going to hold it forever. You can't hold it forever. You have to let it go. When you let it go, it feels so good to let it go. But then if you let it go too much, you got to bring it back in. I'm going to hold it again forever. Nope. Got to let it go. Oh, that felt good. And then it's like, well, maybe I do the opposite. Maybe I just want to let it go all the time. It's like, right? There's a balance. There's a natural balance for the self. And that's the realization. That's the awareness. When you start to realize and become aware of what's happening with the self, which is this amazing harmony of the vibration, of the frequency, of the oscillation, whatever this breath, this spirit is that's moving in and out, coming in and out. It comes and goes but never leaves. This is who we are. It's been with us our whole life. And we're riding this wave up and down, up and down. Inhale, exhale. Whether we're aware of it or not. And the key to this podcast is let's become aware of it. Because once we're aware of it, then we can be safe and sound. Because now we understand that safety is in the refuge, in the protection of the breath. We're safe. How are we safe? Well, we're safe because we're protected. How are we protected? We're protected because we're in balance. We're in balance because we're with the breath, the living, breathing being of ourselves. And that is, I really truly feel, Adam, a place of peace. It's coming from a place of peace. It's like a wave in the ocean. The ocean is peace, and the wave is the breath. And we're coming in and out, up and down, from peace into peace, back up, back down. We go up, we go down. We think we're separating from it, then we just drop back into it. And it just keeps coming and going with each inhale and exhale.
I love that. I think it's in my journey, you know, I own a sound company. My entire job is about listening and taking in the moment and feeling the emotion. You know, I do location sound for film and television. My job is to listen. And it's so interesting to be able to listen to you speak about the experience and speak about the emotional platitudes of what your class, but also what you offer to your students with it. And ultimately, at the end of it, it's an amazing experience. Because not only do you have the deep voice, which really tunes into people's frequencies and stuff like that, but more so, you know what you're talking about, you know? You're there, you speak, and people are listening.
There's a resonance. And I think the low, deep tone for me came from 18 years old picking up a didgeridoo at UBC when I was a student, the side of the cliffs, and playing that first deep tone. My voice was, you know, much younger back then, but being able to feel that, like the sound of the earth, the sound of like that energy that came through. And we all have a low tone and a high tone. We all are an instrument. We all can sing, and it's just allowing that vibration, that frequency to flow from each of us freely. And so for me, it was like that invitation, you know, you spoke so beautifully of. That came from that, you know, playing the didge. You know, my voice was really characterized by the didgeridoo. And so when I play didgeridoo, me and the didge, and then, you know, when I go back even earlier, it's like, why did that? Oh, I love Star Wars. I love the sound of the lightsaber. You know, the energy, the power. You know, this kind of like white static, you know, that noise, that energy. And when you feel that, there's something there in the frequency. It's like, you know, there's an energy there. And I think that's where it really allows for people to feel grounded, you know, a deep tone. And it also allows others to then go into the higher octaves, you know, to play off of that deep tone, that grounded experience, and allows them to grow into their own experience, giving them that grounding, giving them that assurance, giving them that low tone. Because if we are vibration, then we're just laying the level. This is the level. This is the thing. Everything grows from here, right? If you go lower than this, then it goes into silence. Right, so lower than this tone is silence. You have this tone, and then you drop the tone down, right? And that's because it's all vibration. It's this nervous system that's like operating on this vibrational form, on this frequency, and then the sound of our voices. That's why we have entrainment. This is what the phenomena of entrainment is. The science of sound, right? That we are in a healing, not just in a healing feeling vibration, but it's also all vibration, all sound. Sound can affect us. Cacophonous sounds, disorienting sounds, harmonious sounds, loving sounds, sounds of nature, sounds of this, sounds of fighting, sounds of that. That's why safe and sound, Let's be first safe to explore the sounds, right? Let's be safe to explore the sounds, because without the safety, the sounds can sound like anything, and they can entrain us. So it's like surrendering to the flow of what's happening outside of you. And if you trust that, that's the entrainment. If you trust that, you allow it to happen. Yeah. Right? So it's going into the sauna and sweating and, oh, it's hot and I'm getting hot. It's like, are you okay with being hot? Are you okay with not being okay? I'm really hot. Is that okay? Or is that a problem and it puts you into a panic and you have to leave and retreat? Or can you surrender? Well, I'm in the cold. I'm in the lake. Are you okay with the cold? Are you okay with not being okay? Okay, surrender. And that's the frequency again. Everything is a frequency, and it's teaching us all around us through nature, through practices, how to harmonize, how to feel the sweetness of surrender.
How I imagine this podcast going is, we have a little bit of a talk at the beginning. I ask you a question. I get some, we go on a journey through that question. And then at the end, I, as a host, put myself in the position of someone who's had a bad day. Because this teaching, this practice truly helped me. It's helped me on multiple bad days. And right now, hopefully this podcast speaks to so many different people who, are tuning in because they need that sort of release, that they need that sort of understanding, that acceptance with it. So why don't you take me through a practice? Why don't we talk about that?
We're going to bring it back to our being. Right? We're going to bring it back to our being. Because anyone who's having a bad day, it's just separation. Right? We're just feeling separate again. And separation starts with being alone, being lonely. Right? It all starts with this separation from the self. It starts with guilt, starts with shame. Shame is other people. It starts growing regret. It starts growing, and then it just gets out of control. All right? Again, it's not a problem to feel these things. It's not a problem to have a rough day. It's okay. Everything's okay. It's okay to be okay, and it's okay not to be okay. What we're going to practice is how to be. And when we be, we can be okay with okay, and we can okay with not okay. So this is the key. So whether we've had a rough day or whether we've had a soft day, we can be. It's easier if we have a preference. Some people like it rough and some people like it soft, right? They say on the way to the great way, the only thing that gets in the way is our preferences. So, for those who have had a rough day, we're going to relax. For those who are already relaxed, we're just going to relax even more, right? Because it's all about surrender. Because surrender is the key. Once you really understand what surrender is, and we'll describe it throughout the podcast and the different practices, but again, we're just using the same magic, the same moment, the same solved mystery. This is happening in this moment, the present, being and breathing, being and breathing. So let's take a deep breath in through the nose and exhale long and strong through the mouth. through nose. Fill up and long and strong through mouth. The longer, the stronger, the better. Deep breath in through nose. Long and strong through mouth. As we calm and relax our nervous system. One of the things that we do by breathing like this, and again, can't breathe and talk at the same time, but just remember as you exhale 2, 3, 4 times as long, the point of this breathing is because we're stimulating our parasympathetic system. This is why Alex went to UFT. This is why Alex got the science degree. So he could understand the science as a yogi. So not yoga science, not any of this other stuff. Just, I'm a yogi. I'm 30 years old. I'm 31. I'm 32. I'm 33. I'm 34. I'm 35. I graduate. I experienced it all through the yoga, teaching full time, doing and getting my science degree in mental health. One of the things I learned was this. When you exhale 2, 3, 4 times as long, you are stimulating your parasympathetic nervous system so you can relax. And although, if you have a partner at home, if you could do this to sleep at night, it would be great, but your partner would drive them crazy, obviously. If you could, just relax it out. When we meet someone who's panicking, what do we say? First thing we say, take a deep breath. Anyone who's in panic is not going to take a deep breath. So this is the first practice I would love to teach. And this is why we're going to teach it. Because when we can elongate the exhale, this is what allows us to have that ability to calm our nervous system, to stimulate that which relaxes us. And it seems ironic to say, not ironic. Is it ironic? It's something like it seems like ironic that you have to do this thing to relax this thing. You have to do this thing to chill, but it's like you do, right? You have to do this thing to chill. So you have to stimulate this thing to relax this thing, right? So to get into a place of relaxation, you really have to focus on the exhale. Again, think of someone who's crying. Short, shallow breathing, short, shallow breathing, short, shallow breathing. Think of someone who's angry. Fast, quick breathing, fast, quick breathing. If you want to relax, if you want to calm down, if you want to sleep, you have to do long, deep breaths out. Far longer than the inhale. Think of a whale. Think of a dolphin. We're mammals. We breathe in, and then we go under. We ride the oxygen in our bodies. We experience the world, the magic that is the internal. We experience this. Okay, so this is going to be our practice for today. So that's a little bit of a preface just to get everyone kind of tuned in. What we're doing, how we're doing it, why we're doing it. We're stimulating the nervous system. It's an autonomic system. There's 2 parts, sympathetic and parasympathetic. One is fight and flight. One is rest and digest. We want to stimulate that which calms us. Again, it's ironic. We have to stimulate that which chills us out. Yes, we have to do that. We have to feed the one. We have to look in the direction we want to go. We have to do that. So the exhale is the key. It has to be 2, 3, 4 times as long. The longer you exhale, trust me on this one, as you get obsessed, as you get fixated, as you get into this groove of like, I'm going to exhale as long as I can, you're going to do it to yourself. You will switch gears. It's like a gear switch. You'll learn how to do this for yourself. That's the key. This is all about our being. So let's get in control of our being, because our being is our being. Let's get in control of our human into our being. That's better. Let's get in control of our human into our being, because our being is being. So let's take a deep breath in through the nose, long and strong through the mouth. In through nose. Out through mouth. Deeper and deeper in through nose. All the way out through mouth. Let it flow, let it go. Deep breath in. And deeper breath out. Through nose and out through mouth. As we breathe and be, I hope everyone is safe and sound tonight. Let it go, let it be. Let's be and breathe. I fear nothing, I hope nothing, I am free. Safe and sound. This is the way. This is how you get safe and sound. This is what I tell myself. To be safe and sound, right? Just, I fear nothing, I hope nothing, I am free. I fear nothing, I hope nothing, I am free. Relax, release. Let go. Let it flow. Just be. Just breathe. Newness is nowness. Be present. Be here. Be clear. And move through all darkness without fear. Shanti, 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 shanti. Peace, 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 peace. In our hearts, in our lives, and all that we see, are, and be. The light in me sees, shares, acknowledges, and recognizes the light in you. In love, with love, and through love. Grounded in gratitude. Grounded in gratitude. Namaste, my brother. What a beautiful day. Just to play with these beautiful frequencies and vibrations, these tones. Again, mantras to Om. So much to do, so much to have. That's the human. For the being, just being is all about breathing. That's it. That's the gift. That's the sign off. And I hope everyone is safe and sound. Namaste.
Namaste.